on the spending. We've got to get that dialed back down, and we've got to stop negotiating away the power of the purse by rubber stamping Democrat continuing resolutions. We've got to make sure that our government is following the law. And so I'll be holding agency heads to the law. I'll be holding their feet to the fire. If they're not going to close our government, if they're not going to close our border, we shouldn't be funding those agencies.
Amen.
And so we either need to shut down the border or shut down the government.
Yes.
Well, we definitely need to reduce the size and scope of the federal government long term either way. And that is certainly a priority. So in short, my first priority is to cut spending. Yes. Yes, sir.
So what would you do about housing?
Housing is something that I think the federal government should largely stay out of. I think there are so many problems that exist in the country. And at every turn for the last several decades, the solution has been a new government program, a new law, a new regulation. Over time, what that actually does is it complicates the ability for new people to start businesses. It complicates every aspect of our lives. The last thing I want is the federal government regulating everything in our lives. And I often say when I'm out and about, I've got a one-point plan to save America, and that is to get Washington the hell out of your life. So that includes housing. Washington shouldn't be involved in housing, in my view.
But by you being the next senator, what would you do about Florida housing?
I will have virtually nothing to do with Florida housing as the next U.S. Senator other than reducing regulations that are going to impede people's ability to construct, insure, power, utilities. All those things are highly regulated at this point by the federal government. And if we bring back those regulations, if we restore freedom, the people will prosper. If you get the government out of the way, American ingenuity will prosper.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. We do need to secure our border. That's gone ridiculously far at this point. It should worry every one of us that we have a federal government that cashes our checks and then refuses to enforce the laws passed by our elected representatives. We've got an administrative state that's out of control. Most of the laws and regulations that touch our lives on every level are not written by our elected representatives in Congress. They're written by unelected career bureaucrats that work for administrative agencies. And I will work tirelessly to gut that, to reduce the deep state, and to hold the government to the law.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Knowing that we want to reduce spending and reduce our deficit overall, the border crisis right now is ridiculous to the point where it's going to cost us trillions
Yes, it is.
to get rid of it. Where's that money going to come from? Well, we got to clean house from top to bottom, side to side.
I tell you, it'll cost a lot less to deport the people who have broken into our country than it will to continue housing them, feeding them, educating them, providing them with medical care, retirement, the list goes on. So we need to round these folks up, and we need to deport them en masse. As long as there is no consequence for violating the law, they're gonna keep coming. If we don't start arresting them, imprisoning them, and deporting them, they're just gonna keep on coming, because right now they get greeted at the border with an open barbed wire fence and a gift card and a cell phone. Meanwhile, our veterans are sleeping on sidewalks, homeless. If they're not in that sort of condition, they're told at the VA they gotta wait in line. We don't have budget for that.
Right.
I come from a military family, and I watched that firsthand.
Right.
It's a disgrace that we take better care of illegal immigrants than we do the people who put their life on the line for this country.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.